A visit to Clondagoff Castle. A golden sunset, mid-October, and yet the prolonged evening sends its golden rays on hill and valley across the Clonmoylan townland. The lordly Shannon ripples by on its way to Killaloe and its broad Atlantic, whilst the opposite Tipperary foreland gently fades from view. It was a still gorgeous sunset and aroused memories of events of the later part of the 19th century. Clondagoff was then a focal point in the history of the land wars. It was a turbulent time of trials and evictions. Complete villages were wiped out, and the coupled forces of the ruling powers and landlord were visible everywhere. Woodford and its hinterland had resisted forcibly the unreasonable demands of the landlord. Evictions and destruction of the homesteads were the norm of the day, extending from Mount Shannon to Ballygown. In the fading sunset, Clondagoff looked serene and graceful. Yet, in 1886, Clondagoff featured in the history of the Planet Campaign. In pre-famine Ireland, there were many kinds of farmers. The word farmer is generally used to describe a prosperous landowner. Then followed the cottier, and then the landless labourer. Even in the land wars, a pattern retained was that a landowner could rent 90, maybe 100 acres from the landlord, and then he himself could rent 10, 20, maybe 40 acres to a nearby kinsman. Regarding John Stanislaus Burke, he rented from Clonrickard and then assumed this practice. Seizing on the opportunity as presented, Clonrickard and his associates decided upon a campaign of raising the land rents with their exorbitant demands. This was strongly opposed by violence and conflict. The land war followed, with evictions and suppression being the order of the day. The tenants engaged upon a fight to the end, with no breaking of ranks. John Stanislaus Burke came in this category. Obedient to his fellow men, he resisted Clonrickard, fortified his castle, and lay in wait for his fatal day of eviction. Notice of a postponed eviction gave time to the anti-eviction forces an opportunity to regroup and prepare. This time, the castle was in readiness for a prolonged siege. At general meetings of eviction agents, reference had been made to the defence of Saunders Fort, and that next time the exterminators would storm a castle, alluding to Clondagoff. So, Clondagoff was listed, but owing to prior arrangements would not be reached on the appointed day. Long delays alerted local forces, as every hill had its scouts and sentinels to inform of the approach of the military. Profiting from past experience, Mr. Shaw Toner, Clonrickard's eviction official, contrived to get his force of constabulary through to Portumna Castle without attracting any attention. He also succeeded in enlisting a large number of boats to convey his men in the early dawn and to move silently and swiftly down the river to Clondagoff. Having reached the promontory by dawn, they proceeded silently and swiftly to the castle. They found the entrance blocked by boulders of rock and logs of trees. The castle was solidly fortified. On inspection, a young recruit who accompanied them noticed a rope dangling from the rear of the castle. Grasping this, he climbed nimbly to the top. To his astonishment, he found the castle had been deserted. Munitions of war lay strewn about, huge beams and rocks piled everywhere. A unique method for heating water or oil for defensive purposes lay there, along with crowbars to dislodge battlements on the attacking forces. So, John Stanislaus Burke had been outwitted. Questions have been raised as to his whereabouts at that critical time. It is obvious that he was aware of the postponement and was assisting a troubled kinsman. The popular and renowned local farmer John Roach came to their assistance and donated a field for the purpose of building houses for the dispossessed. The Burkes of Clondagoff were granted living quarters in a house that still stands in near perfect condition. And so also stands Clondagoff Castle, proud and glittering on this October evening, a tribute to the loyal men and women of a glorious age.